Numbers 22 opens with a king so terrified of Israel's size, he sends for a prophet to curse them. But God already blocked the curse before the messenger arrived. Balaam gets the invitation with payment attached. And here's where it gets quiet. He tells the messengers to stay the night while he asks God if he can take the money and go. That overnight pause? That's the first crack. He heard God say no, but he kept the offer on the table. So Balak, king of Moab, sees this massive nation camped at his border and panic hits him like a cold wave. He knows he can't beat them in battle, so he reaches for the only weapon left, a curse. Messengers ride out with payment for Balaam, a prophet known for blessing and cursing with real power. The offer lands in Balaam's hands. Come curse Israel and name your price. God's answer comes through clear as a bell. Don't go, don't curse them, Israel is blessed. But instead of sending Balak's men home, Balaam tells them to stay the night, as if he's waiting for a different answer. He heard God perfectly, but his heart was still weighing the offer, lingering on the reward. This time Balak sends princes, more important men, carrying promises of great wealth. And now God gives a different answer. Go with them, but only do what I tell you. It's a test disguised as permission. Will Balaam obey the spirit of God's command, or exploit the loophole for personal gain? So Balaam rises early, saddles his own donkey, and rides out with Moab's princes, outwardly obedient to God's command, but his heart is already chasing the promised reward. He's following the letter of God's permission, but the spirit of it? He's already failed, and the very animal beneath him is about to become the first roadblock he never saw coming. Balaam rides easy in the saddle, the morning sun warm on his face, the promise of Balak's reward still fresh in his mind. But the donkey sees what Balaam can't. A warrior angel blocking the vineyard lane, sword drawn and ready. She swerves hard, crashing through the vineyard wall and into the field, saving a prophet who has no idea he just dodged death. One divine roadblock down. 2 more to go. Balaam jerks the reins, furious. His animal just swerved into a field for no reason he can see, so he beats her hard, forces her back onto the road, never glancing at the angel with the drawn sword standing in the narrow path ahead. The donkey saw death coming, and Balaam punished her for saving his life. The donkey pushes on, but the angel shifts to a sunken lane, stone walls tight on both sides. This time there's no room to swerve. The animal presses against the wall, crushing Balaam's foot against the rock. He beats her again, still blind to the sword-wielding messenger blocking their way. A second refusal, a second warning. But the prophet's greed has deafened him to the supernatural. The angel shifts to a place where the walls squeeze and no room to dodge left or right. The donkey sees what Balaam still can't. A warrior blocking the only way through. She has nowhere to go, so she simply folds her legs and lowers herself to the ground beneath him. Balaam's patience snaps. He raises his staff and brings it down on the animal that just saved his life for the 3rd time. Balaam raises his staff for a 4th strike. But the donkey opens her mouth and speaks. What have I done to you that you've struck me these 3 times? She asks. The prophet drops his arm, stunned. An animal just talked, and her question cuts deeper than any blow. He looks down at the animal who has carried him faithfully for years, and admits it. You've been with me a long time, he says, his voice tight with anger. Still blind to the angel, he wishes aloud for a sword to kill the very creature that just exposed his own deafness. She doesn't raise her voice. She just asks, have I ever done this to you before? And Balaam has to admit the truth. No, never. The donkey's simple question exposes what he couldn't see. The problem wasn't her stubbornness, it was his blindness. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel standing in the road with sword drawn. The angel spoke. Why have you beaten your donkey 3 times? I came here to block your path because your way is reckless before me. The donkey saw me and turned away. If she hadn't, I would have killed you and spared her. I have sinned, Balaam says, his voice shaking as he finally sees the sword that was meant for him. He offers to turn back, to give up Balak's reward and go home, but the confession comes only after he's caught, leaving a question hanging in the air. Is he sorry he sinned, or sorry he got caught? You'd expect the angel to send him packing, but instead keep going. Go with the men, the angel says, but only speak what I tell you. The roadblock is gone. But now the real test begins. Will Balaam obey when no one's blocking the path? So Balaam crosses into Moab, and Balak doesn't waste a moment. He's been waiting, and the frustration spills out. Didn't I send for you? Why didn't you come? The king's voice is sharp, But then he softens, because the reward is still on the table. Balaam stands there, knowing the angel's warning is still fresh, knowing he can only speak what God gives him. And now the real test begins. Balak leads Balaam to Bamoth Baal, the high places of his god, and they build 7 altars, sacrificing bulls and rams on each one. The king watches, hoping the smoke will twist God's arm. But when Balaam opens his mouth to curse, only blessing comes out. No ritual, no payment, no position can override what God has already spoken over his people. And Balak's face says everything. This wasn't supposed to happen. Blessings instead of curses. Balak is fuming. This isn't what he paid for. So he drags Balaam to Pisgah, thinking a new mountain might change God's mind. But you can't outmaneuver the one who sees every angle. Balak's strategy is just our stubbornness in royal robes, trying to relocate a blessing that's already sealed. Balak drags him to Pisgah New Mountain, same setup. 7 altars, 7 sacrifices, and the king's hope rising with every flame. But when Balaam opens his mouth, the same words pour out blessing, not curse. No amount of relocation can change what God has already fixed. So Balak tries again, dragging Balaam to Peor, overlooking the wilderness. Same king, same prophet, same stubborn hope that a different view will break God's blessing. But the pattern's already set. No mountain changes what God has spoken. Balak builds 7 more altars on Peor, hoping a change in scenery finally breaks the blessing. 7 bulls, 7 rams, the same ritual, the same smoke, the same desperate hope for a different result. Balaam opens his mouth a 3rd time, expecting to force a curse through ritual precision. But the Spirit of God overtakes him again. Instead of curses, blessing pours out, unstoppable, irreversible. 3 locations, 21 sacrifices, and still God's word stands unbroken. No amount of human effort can reverse what God has sealed. Balak thought a 3rd mountain would break the spell, but when Balaam opens his mouth one last time, the Spirit falls heavy. No divination can touch Israel, he declares. What God has blessed stays blessed, and the future belongs to a king who will rise from Jacob. The prophecy lands like a seal, and Balak's hands fall open, empty of curses, empty of reward. Balaam leaves Moab empty-handed, the reward he chased still in Balak's treasury. But the donkey's 3 refusals echo long after the dust settles. God used the lowliest creature to stop a prophet from walking into his own death. Every obstacle on that road wasn't a setback. It was rescue wearing a disguise. Every closed door, every frustrating delay, it might be God saving you from a disaster you can't see yet. The donkey didn't fight. She stopped. And that stopped a prophet from walking into death. Trust the obstacle. It might be the only thing standing between you and a sword you never saw coming.